stream. My name is Ken, and I am the host of the Ikwanastahab, or the Brevin of Gold. And today we're gonna be reading some books, but I just want to commemorate everyone's presence today by striking the singing bowl. Welcome to the stream, everybody. My name is Ken, and I'm the host of the Ikwanastahab. And today, you are watching a reading of some pretty cool stuff. So, I'm going to wait for the viewers to come in, then I'm going to get started, okay? Now we're all grounded. We did our blessing of the space, guys. So before entering the stream, we like to just bless the space, bless the area around. I just said a quick prayer for y'all, said a quick blessing for y'all, and I just projected it towards you guys. So, um, yeah, I do pray silently. When I'm praying Salah, I pray aloud. Maghrib, Fajr, and Isha Salah. But yeah. Uh, so welcome everybody to the stream. My name is Ken. I'm the host of the Ikwanas Tahab, or the Brevin of Gold. And today we're going to be reading two texts. We're going to be reading Liber 150, which is actually a text that it's a book that Toronto Felimo was actually very kind enough to give to me for free to read and stuff like that. And yeah, so we're going to be reading Liber 150, the Liege Libellum, or the Liege Libellum. We're also going to be reading Enochian Magic and the Higher World by John DeSalvo, PhD. So this guy has got a pretty huge degree. What's good? What's good? Oh, it's Tyrone. Big man Tyrone in the building. Let's go. Let's go. One strike of the bell for Tyrone. That's sick. For for every supportive comment, and for every chat we get a strike from the bell. Let's go. All right, so yeah, I guess I should preface this by talking about what Liber 150 is about. So Liber 150 is a Class E document in the Astrum Argentum, or the AA, and it is the AA. If you didn't know, is like a spiritual school for for like people who are like seriously trying to gain some sort of like result from their practices. So some main parts about the AA that you can understand is contacting your guardian angel, crossing over the abyss. Like a lot of this stuff actually pertains to being in the AA. Like a lot of Enochian stuff pertains to being in the AA. There's a lot of stuff in general just seems to like the AA has been following me around for a while. So we have a class E document from the AA. Now just because it's class E, like the classes go all the way up to A, right? So just because it's class E, don't mean that it is easy for thee, right? So the Class E document of the AA just simply means that it's a commentary or it's an expounding on a Class A document, from what I understood from some of the people there at Toronto Lima. So just want to say shout out to everybody who joined the stream. Shout out to everybody who pulled up. Shout out to everybody who's here. So you're probably wondering if a Class E document here. I'll show it to you guys right here. Show it to you guys right here. So this is the cover of the book. This is the cover of the book. So it's got Noon, Ayin, and Lamed. So Noon is valued at 50, Ayin is valued at 70, and Lamed is valued at 30. So that makes 150 in total. Now, one thing that's really important to know is that the Book of Psalms actually has 150 chapters in total as well. And Book of Psalms is also there's the 150 in the Noah story too. I think something on the lines of like during the flood of Noah's Ark, the water overpowered the land for 150 days. So yeah, without further ado, let us continue. Let's start a book. So what's it called? Liber 150 is basically like a commentary on like the Book of the Law, and it is a commentary on uh four four specific aspects of the Book of the Law: liberty, love, life, and light. So in these parts of Liber 150, we shall be exploring and expounding on a lot more different and abstract kind of ideas that Crowley is like basically like commentating on in terms of like getting the key aspects of the Book of Allah down, basically. So liberty, love, life, and light are all these three things. Um yeah. And this could also be like a certain like fivefold process too. Cause think about this, guys. Think about this. Um, so there are There's four total chapters in this book, right? There's four total chapters in this book, and in these four chapters, it could possibly, what I'm already speculating from what we're reading in these four chapters, is that there could be like a connection to like the 5 degrees of the man of the earth. So in like more formal like spiritual schools, like specifically like the OTO and all the and the AA, there is like a fivefold kind of kind of journey for the neophyte, basically. So it's like in the OTO, when you're a man of the earth, or when you're like I think it's the Minerval. Yeah, I think when you're a Minerval, or like a beginner in the system, there's 5 degrees you have to travel up in order to become like ascend past it. But I'm thoroughly excited to read this, guys. I'm really excited to check it out. So yeah, we spent the first 10 minutes just introducing the stream to what's up. We spent the first 10 minutes really telling people what's up. So I think 10 minutes is a good enough time for us to finally get started. So without further ado, guys, let's get started. So Liber 150, like I said again, Noon Ayin Lamed, 50, 70, 30 equals 150, right? Liber Asando Delige Libellum. I can't read Latin. Anyways, Liber 150. Preface, the law. Do what thou wilt should be the whole of the law. In righteousness of heart come hither, and listen for it I to Meta Ophion, who gave this law unto everyone that holdeth himself holy. It is I, not another, that willeth your whole freedom, and arising within you full of knowledge and power. Behold, the kingdom of God is within you, even as the sun stands eternal in the heavens, equal at midnight and at noon. He rises not, he settles not, but it is but the shadow of the earth which conceals him, or the clouds upon her face. Let me declare unto you this mystery of the law, as it has been known to me in divers places, upon the mountains and in the deserts, but also in great cities. Which thing I can speak for your comfort and good courage, and so be it unto all of you. Know first that from the law springs four rays of emanations, so that if the law be the center of your own being, they must fill you and their secret goodness. And these four are light, life, love, and liberty. So, light. Okay, so here's something that's pretty interesting, guys. Here's something that's pretty interesting. In the introductory segment, right? Light, life, love, and liberty is the order, right? But the chapter order of the book is not light, life, love, and liberty. It's liberty, love, life, and light. I wonder if they deliberately did that or not. I wonder. I wonder indeed. But regardless, though, we're gonna keep going. By light shall you look upon yourself, and behold all things that are in truth one thing only, whose name has been called no thing for a cause which will later shall be declared unto you. But the substance of light is life, since without existence and energy it were not. By life therefore are you made yourselves, eternal and incorruptible, flaming forth as suns, self-created and self-supported, each the sole center of the universe. Now as by light you beheld, by love you feel, there is an ecstasy of pure knowledge, and another of pure love, and this love is the force that unites all things diverse, for the contemplation and light of their oneness. Know that the universe is not at rest, but in extreme motion, whose sum is rest. And this understandably, that stability is change, and change stability, that being is becoming, and becoming being, is the key and the golden palace of this law. Lastly, by liberty is the power that directs your course according to your will, for the extent of the universe is without bounds, and you are free to make your pleasures as you will, seeing that the diversity of being is infinite also. For this also is the joy of the law, that no two stars are alike, and you must understand also that multiplicity is itself unity, and without it unity could not be. This is a hard saying against reason. You shall comprehend when rising above reason, which is but a manipulation of the mind. You come to pure knowledge by direct perception of the truth. Know also that these four emanations of the law flame forth upon all paths. You shall use them not only in these highways of the universe where I have written, but in every bypath of your daily life. Love is the law, love under will. So, chapter 1 of liberty. So to basically summarize what the what's it called? What the first preface is talking about. In the book of the law. Hold up. I think I have my book of the law upstairs. I'm not gonna risk going upstairs and losing all my viewers just to get a copy of the book of the law, but let's see if I have it down here. I don't, unfortunately, but it's okay. My book of the law is upstairs, but it's not like it's necessary for me to like explain the talking point. I'm just kind of OCD like that. But in the book of the law, it instates like the guidelines for a new age of like different of Horus, of like the Egyptian deity god form Horus, right? So what Crowley is purporting or proposing in Liber 150 is that from the book of the law emanates four principles. Now these four principles are liberty, love, life, and light. Now the thing about it is that these are these four, what's already coming to mind when I read these certain concepts is that these four principles are heavily disputable in terms of like what it means to encompass these things. So I'm already expecting that it's gonna give me like a thorough like definition, almost like a glossary a little bit. This is almost like a glossary. It's seeming like it's a glossary of these very important terminologies that people I feel like use very loosely nowadays. If you get what I'm saying, like of liberty, like liberty is like a very like loose term people use nowadays. Now people say I'm a liberal or I am of liberty and stuff like that, and not really fully grasping what liberty could even mean on a grander scale. Same thing with love. Like people say, "Oh, I love you," or "God loves you," or "They love you," or "We love you," and stuff like that. Or people have like seem to like understand love to only be a feeling nowadays. It's because of how loosely people throw it around. Like people be like, "Oh, hey, I love you," and then like hurt you and stuff like that really badly. Do you guys think it's possible to love like when 21 Savage said, "I'd rather have loyalty over love. It don't really take much to love because you can still love someone and stab them in the back." So I was wondering, guys, um, is is it really possible for you to love someone and still do some snake ass shit to them? Because is that really love? Because a lot of people like to distinguish loyalty and trust from love. But I was always of the belief that love connotes and has a connotation of trust and loyalty. So nowadays with how loosely people throw the word love here, love there, I love you, and stuff like that. What's good, Waru? We're talking about the nature of the word love. And like how like if it's necessarily an agreeable thing to distinguish loyalty and trust from love. I love you too, Waru. That's ironic. Yeah. Yeah, we're try to get as much people in the stream, Waru. Try to get as much people in the stream. But yeah, so love gets thrown around very like loosely in our generation. I feel like a lot of people will excuse shitty behavior for, well, I did it out of love, or I did it because I was looking for love, or I did it because I want to be loved. And I do this too. Like I know this because I do it, right? So it's like I want you guys to ruminate and think about this specifically. Do you think it's appropriate to distinguish trust and loyalty? Oh, thanks. Let's get a strike. We'll strike the bell two. We'll strike the singing bowl two times. One for Z and one for Walru. For all the new streamers, for all the new viewers here, welcome to the stream. My name is Ken. I'm the host of the Ikwan Astahab, and right now we're talking about the concepts that are going to be expounded upon in Liber 150. The first one being liberty, second one being love, third one being life, and fourth one being light. So, one thing I want to describe here is that these are some really touchy and very like guttural terminologies that people go to like intellectual war with each other about what does it mean to be a liberalistic person, what does it mean to be a loving person, what does it mean to have what it means to be, what does it mean to be alive, what does it mean to go towards and shoot towards the light obviously meaning like the light of God and stuff like that. So um what I would like to explain to you guys is that people, I'll say this for like a third time, and I promise I'll shut up about this. But people for the longest time have had very bad experiences with the word love, because usually now people use the word love to preface them snaking you, basically. So it's caused people to distinguish loyalty and trust from love. But I never understood that whole I'd rather have loyalty but love, or I'd rather have trust but love, because if you know anything about true love already has trust and loyalty embedded in it. That's why it's called true love. It's not even just trust and loyalty, it's faith too. It's faith. Love is a faith powered thing. It is a leap of faith you take when you're in love with somebody. It is a leap of faith you're taking. Love is a faith powered thing. It's a faith powered force that is in your heart chakra. So it can be really important. Yeah, 100%, 100%. But people are always talking about how like I feel like it's like life can be like boiled down to like a huge game of semantics sometimes, because people would be like, oh, I don't want love, I want trust, or I don't want love, I want honesty, or I don't want love, I want truth, or I don't want love, I want transparency, right? Not realizing that love is like a multifaceted thing that contains all those things if it's done in a true respect, you know? So that's just something I've just ruminated on just from looking at this. So let's actually start. I'm sorry, that took us 20 minutes. I kind of went on a tangent there. But let's start, okay? One, two, one, two, three. It is of liberty that I would first write unto you, for except you be free to act, you cannot act. Yet all four gifts of the law must in some degree be exercised, seeing that these four are one. But for aspirant that come unto the master, the first need is freedom. The great bond of all bonds is ignorance. How shall a man be free to act if he knows not his own purpose? You must therefore first of all discover which star of all the stars you are, your relation to the other stars about you, and your relation to identity with the whole. In our holy books are given sundry means of making this discovery, and each make it for himself, attaining absolute conviction by direct experience, not merely reasoning and calculating what is probable. And to each will come the knowledge of his finite will, whereby one is poet, one prophet, one worker in steel, another in jade, but also they each to be the knowledge of the infinite will, his destiny to perform the great work, the realization of his true self. Of this will, let me therefore speak clearly unto all, since it pertaineth unto all. Understand now in yourself in a certain discontent, analyze well its nature, and at the end in every case one conclusion. The ill springs from the belief in two things, the self and not self, and the conflict between them. This is also a restriction of the will. He who is sick in his conflict with his own body, he who is poor at odds, he who is poor with odds of society, and so for the rest. Ultimately, therefore, the problem is how to destroy this perception of duality, to obtain the apprehension of unity. Let's get a green screen in the background, boys. Let's go! Yo, Tyrone, what do you think about the background, bro? What do you think about the background? This is hard. Yo, this is hard. It's a nice background, eh? Yeah, let's keep going. Now let us suppose that you have come to the master, and he has declared to you the way of this attainment. What hinders you? Alas, there is very much freedom afar off. Understand clearly this, that if you are sure of your will and sure of your means, that any thought of action which are contrary to the means are contrary also to that will. It is therefore the master should enjoin upon you a vow of holy obedience. Compliance is not a surrender of the will, but a fulfillment thereof. Okay, that's something I gotta note down. I gotta note that shit down because that's fire. That's fire notes right there. That's a fire download. I'm constantly writing. I'm constantly noting down like stuff I understand from these books and stuff like that because they teach me something new every single day. But a fulfillment of an oath, if it's in alignment with your will, is not a denial of it. It's a fulfillment of it. Now, this is the thing, right? When people swear an oath to a specific religious system or practice, what ends up happening is they end up selling their life away to a life where their will is restricted. But Crowley here is saying that when you're making a pledge of allegiance to a higher entity or to somebody who will direct your energy towards something greater for you, it is supposed to be a fulfillment of your will. So I like that a lot. I like that a lot actually. I'm going to jot that down because that is just beautiful. That's beautiful. I love that. Uh, I'm gonna show you guys the notes. Although my thing is really bad. My handwriting is very bad. Uh, Compliance is not a surrender of the will, but a fulfillment thereof. Okay. The will. The will Smith. The will. Compliance. I gotta directly quote this. compliance is not. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me, because this is important to that we jot notes as we read through this. You know, because I don't want to just read it. I want to like digest it. You know. Compliance is not a surrender of the will, but a fulfillment. Compliance is not surrendering. Is not surrender. It's not surrender, but a fulfillment of the will. Okay, I know it's like chicken scratch writing, but compliance is not surrender, but a fulfillment of the will. So when you're in compliance with your higher guardian angel, guys, when you're in compliance with a higher entity that has your best interest, and when you're in compliance with a divine oath or with a divinity, it is not a denial of your will. There's so much people get this wrong. I feel like so much people get this wrong. I've genuinely heard religious pastors say, like excuse me, religious teachers say that when we surrender our life to God's, we give up our free will to do so. Like, oh, I'm giving up my free will so I can be in servitude to you. But this is showing us that when we take an oath to a divine essence or a divine form, we are fulfilling what we're supposed to be doing in terms of our will, right? Assuming that you're in theosis with a specific entity that's optimal to you, right? But if you a higher essence that will truly guide you towards success in your will is not going to bind your will when you comply with its plan. It's actually going to fulfill it. And I think that's actually a really interesting take. Although it's kind of like common sense nowadays in terms of like spirituality, it's good to affirm these things. It's very good to affirm these things, I think. I think it's very good to affirm these things. Foresee what hinders you. It is either from without or from within or both. It may be easy from the strong-minded seeker to put his heel upon public opinion or to tear from his heart the objects which he loves. In a sense, but there will always remain in himself many discordant affections, as also the bond of habit, and these must also he conquer. In our holiest book it is written, Thou hast no right but to do thy will, do that and no other shall say nay. Write it also in your heart and in your brain, for this is the key of the whole matter. Here nature herself be your preacher, for in every phenomenon of force and motion does she proclaim aloud this truth. Even in so a small matter as driving a nail into a plank, hear the same sermon. Your nail must be hard, smooth, fine-pointed, or it will not move swiftly in the direction willed. Imagine then a nail of tinder wood with 20 points. It is verily no longer a nail. Yet nigh all mankind are like this. They wish a dozen different careers, and the force which might have been sufficient to attain eminence and one who is wasted on the other. They are null. Here then let me make the open confession, and say thus, though I pledge myself among almost in boyhood to the great work, though my aid came to the most poisoned forces in the whole universe to hold me to it, though habit itself now constrains me in direction, yet I have not fulfilled my will. I turn aside daily from the appointed task, I waver, I falter, I lag. Let this be then of great comfort to you all, that if I be so imperfect, and for very shame I have not emphasized that imperfection, if I the chosen one still fail, then how easy for yourself to surpass me. Or should you only equal me, then even how great attainment should be yours. Be of good cheer therefore, since both my failure and my success are arguments of courage for yourselves. Search yourselves cunningly. I pray you analyzing your innermost thoughts, and first you shall discard all those gross obvious hindrances to your will, idleness, foolishness, friendships, waste appointments, or enjoyments. I will not enumerate the conspirators against the welfare of your state. Next, find the minimum of daily time which is in good sooth necessary to your natural life. The rest you shall devote to the true means of your attainment. And even these necessary hours you shall consecrate to the great work, saying consciously away at these tasks that you may perform them in order to preserve your body and mind in health for the right application that sublime and single object. It shall not be very long before you come to understand that such a life is the true liberty. You will feel distractions. W. Bell. The song I wrote was turned, but here's a bell. Every man I know is rich as hell. You will feel distractions from your will as being what they are. They will no longer appear pleasant and attractive, but as bonds and shames. And when you have attained this point, know that you have passed the middle gate of this path, for you have unified your will. Even thus, were a man sitting in a theater where the play wearies him, he would welcome every distraction and find amusement in any accident. But if he were not intent upon the play, every such incident would annoy him. His attitude to these is an indication of his attitude towards the place itself. At first, the habit of attention is hard to acquire. Persevere, and you will have spasms of revolution periodically. Reason itself will attack you, saying, "How can so strict a bondage be the path of freedom?" Persevere. You have never yet known liberty. When the temptations are overcome, the voice of reason silenced, then will your soul bound forward unhampered upon its chosen course, and for the first time you will experience the extreme delight of being a master of yourself, and therefore of the universe. When this is fully attained, when you sit securely in the saddle, then you may enjoy all those distractions which first pleased you and then angered you. Now they will do neither any more, for they are your slaves and toys. Until you have reached this point, you are not wholly free. You must kill out desire and kill out fear, the end of all power to live according to your own nature, without danger that only part may develop to the detriment of the whole, or concerns that less dangerous should arise. The sots drink and is drunken, the cowards drink not and shivers. The wise man, brave and free, drinks and gives glory to the Most High God. This is then the law of liberty. You possess all liberty in your own right, but you must buttress right with might. You must win freedom for yourself in many a war. Woe unto the children who sleep in the freedom that their forefathers won for them. There is no long beyond do what thou wilt, but it is only the greatest of the race who have the strength and courage to obey it. O man, behold thyself. With what pains wast thou fashioned? What ages have gone to your shaping? The history of the planet is woven into the very substance of your brain. Was it all for naught? Is there no purpose in you? Was you made thus that you should eat and breathe and die? Think it not so. You did incorporate so many elements. You are the fruit of so many aeons of labor. You are fashioned as the art of you are, and no otherwise for some colossal end. Nerve yourself then to seek it and do it. Naught can satisfy you with the fulfillment of transcendent will that is hidden within you. For this, then, up to arms. Win your own freedom for yourself. Strike hard. So a little reflection on what we read so far in chapter 1. So what we've learned so far in chapter 1 is that serving your greater will and serving your true will as an individual is a commitment, and actually being like of liberty, like liberty for the most part, from what I'm trying to understand, is liberty from what I'm understanding is attaining freedom against the restricting forces against your will. This could be, like you said, like the voice of reason that rationalizes everything too much, and fear, carnal desires and stuff like that. Now, one thing I want to expound upon is when he says kill out desire and kill out fear. I don't think desire needs to be killed. I don't think fear needs to be killed. I think these energies need to be redirected into a safer and healthier outlet. Fear is what keeps us alive in many cases, and desire is what makes us mentally keep going towards certain things in many situations too. So it's not necessarily fear or desire that's the issue. It's where you're directing said energy. It's where you're directing said forces into like the right area and to the right places. So when they talk about that, so there's some stuff I disagree with, is what I'm trying to say. Like, regardless of what people say about me, I'm not a Crowley Glazer, right? I don't take everything he says like, wow, that's so true and stuff. That I like to think for myself when I read a lot of his texts, because he himself, like, encourages thinking for yourself when you read these. He quite literally says in this chapter, "I've not done my will yet." So he basically like what's it called? He basically sees it as like it's an everlasting process. You know, finding doing what your will aligns with, doing your true will. It's an everlasting process that permeates your entire life. It's not like, oh wow, I've aligned myself with my true will, and then it's like that's it, right? Like, hello, welcome to the stream. We'll strike a bell for you. Welcome, welcome to the stream. We're gonna read some more of Liber 150. Yes, I am on a green screen. I'm using the green screen uh, effect on the live to project my innermost muse and the person who, uh, my favorite character. Do you want me the way she wants him, though? Do you want me the way she wants him? Do you want me the way she wants him? If you ain't love me the way she loves him, then I don't really care. Cool indeed. Welcome to the stream. How are you? Welcome to the stream. I think it's getting too flirtatious for my liking. I'm getting a bit nervous. I don't even know who you is for real. Maybe you should say your name and I'll remember. I don't think I've ever seen your name mentioned before. What? I'm sorry. I'm not good. I don't want to say I don't want to say I'm good with names, but subscribe. Subscribble. Subscribaloo. Subscribalabe. Subscribalolo. But yeah, let's move on, guys. Let's move on, guys. Let's move on to the next chapter. Oh, so speaking of love, since we got some love in the air in chat, the next chapter is on love. The next chapter is on love, guys. So let's read what Crowley's commentary on love is. It is written that love is the law, love under will. Herein is arcanum concealed. In the Greek language, love is the same numerical value as will, in Greek isopsephi. Hold up. By this we understand that the universal will is of the nature of love. Rock. Do I get pet rock? Which one do you want to see? Do you want to see my green, purple, or blue rock? I have pet rocks. Hold up. Do you want to see my green, purple, or blue rock? Because I have rocks. You want to see the blue one? blue? Okay, here it is. See it? Oh, it's getting the paper off. There it is. It's lapis lazuli from Minecraft. No, I actually have this for certain ritualistic purposes, but yeah, like it's lapis lazuli. Hey, I appreciate you. I appreciate you coming in the chat, but uh, I would much prefer if we read this book because I have a schedule I need to work on, and I'm good. I'm good. I just want to get this book done on the stream. That's all. I just want to finish this book. That's all. But yeah, I'm gonna continue now because you're making me nervous, and this is helping me stave off of that nervousness. Now love is the enkindling ecstasy of two that will to become one. It is thus a universal formula of high magic, for we see how all things, being in sorrow caused by individuality, must of necessity will oneness as their medicine. Here also is nature monitored them to seek wisdom at her breast, for in the uniting of elements of opposite polarities there is a glory of heat, of light, and of electricity. There, thus also in mankind do we behold the spiritual fruit of poetry, and all genius, arising from the seed of which is but an animal gesture, in the estimation of such as school and philosophy. And it is to be noticed strongly that the most violent and divine passions are those between people of utterly unharmonious natures. But now I would have you to know that in the mind are no such limitations in respect of species as to prevent a man falling in love with an inanimate object or an idea. For to him it is in any wise advancement upon the way of meditation, it appears that all objects save the one objects are distasteful, even as appeared formerly in the respect of his chance wishes to the will. So therefore all objects must be grasped by the mind, and heated in the sevenfold furnace of love, until with exposing the ecstasy they unite and disappear, for they being imperfect and destroyed utterly in the creation of the perfection of union, even as the persons of the lover and the beloved infused by the spirit gold of love, which knows no person but comprehends all. Was I playing basketball yesterday? No, I wasn't playing basketball yesterday. I was in downtown yesterday. I wasn't playing basketball. I haven't played basketball uh since I don't ever play basketball, but technically the last time I played basketball was like June, like 2 months ago. So therefore, all objects. Um, I went to a event that gave me this book, and we're reading it. So, yeah, I went to a social event. I got a free book from there, and now we are basically glup. Thanks for giving me some company on the stream, by the way. Thanks for giving me company on the stream. You are one strange person, eh? You are one strange person. Don't take that as an insult, by the way. I'm just very No one shows that much interest to me, so I'm not very. No, I'm not. The day's over. It's 10:30 p.m. I'm not going anywhere today. I'm gonna stream, and then I'm going to. Yeah, I'm gonna stream, and then I'm going to do my rituals, and then I'm gonna sleep, or maybe not sleep. Do some work. What rituals? Uh, look, check this out. This is my mala beads. I chant mantras with it. I chant mantras. I do yoga. Then I do this one ritual called the Kabbalistic cross. If you guys like, we can do the Kabbalistic cross. I'm myself Indian. I'm pretty sure. What's it called? I'm not. First and foremost, I'm Canadian, right? I'm Canadian, right? I was born and raised in Canada. But my if you're talking about my background, I'm pretty sure Gujarat is in like the north of India. I'm pretty sure. But yeah, I'm pretty sure Gujarat's in North India. Could be wrong though. But we north side shody, you dig? Game show. I think I know what that means. It means like how are you, right? Yeah, I think it means like how are you. I That's like the littlest Gujarati I know. That means like how are you? Yeah. Nah, I don't know that one. All I know is this is embarrassing. My parents never taught me Gujarati because uh my parents never taught me Gujarati because they claim it's a dying language. I'm sorry if that's like a controversial statement. That's the reason why I never learned Gujarati growing up, is because they claim it's like a dying language, and so basically like I know is like, oh, what's up, Kai? All I know is Besija, which means sits down. Anya, which means come here. Kemcho is like how are you and stuff like that. Let's see. Yeah, you know what's funny? I think my sister can probably speak more Gujarati than me. Actually, she ends off all her sentences of bye. Eh bye. Eh bye. Bye. All right, let's continue, guys, because I want to get sidetracked. Mr. Patel, your Toyota Corolla lights are on. It's not Toyota Corolla, it's a Honda Civic. Get it right. It ain't no Toyota, bro. We drive Honda Civics only here, bro. Are you trying to get me in the algorithm, Lens John? Are you trying to get me in the algorithm? Is that why you're like typing in like metadata stuff? Like, are you trying to get me in the algorithm? Cause it might work still. I would appreciate I would appreciate any helps that can get us in the public eye, guys, because I think what we're doing is very fun. My name is Ken. Okay, that's what I go by in these areas of the world. I go by Ken. Yeah, but my name is Ken, or Kenny. Um, Now thinking about it, your name does seem familiar. I was not streaming yesterday. I was streaming the day before. I think I was streaming either Saturday or Sunday. I was streaming. So perhaps if you were in that stream, then yeah. But guys, we are getting super sidetracked. Like, I'm trying to just enjoy my my reading here. So therefore all objects must be grasped by the mind, and heated in the sevenfold furnace of love, until with the explosion of ecstasy they unite and disappear, for they being imperfect are destroyed utterly in the creation of the perfection of union, even as the persons of the lover and the beloved are fused in the spiritual goal of love, which knows no person but comprehends all. Yet since each star is but one star, and coming to the gathering of any two is one partial rapture, so must the aspirant be to our holy science and art, increased constantly by the method of assimilating ideas. Give me a second to answer that, okay? That in the end become capable of apprehending the universe in one thought, he may leap forth upon it with the mass violence of his self, and destroying both these becomes that unity whose name is no feint. Seek you all therefore constantly to unite yourselves in rapture, which each and every thing that is, and that by utmost passion and lust of union. To this end take chiefly all such things are naturally repulsive. For what is pleasant is assimilated easily and without ecstasy. It is the transfiguration of the loathsome abhorred into the beloved. Thus the self is taken to the roots in love. Thus in human love also we see that mediocrities among men mate with no women, but history teaches us that the supreme masters of the world seek ever the vilest and most horrible creatures for their concubines, overstepping even the limiting laws of sex and species in their necessity to transcend normality. It is not enough in such natures to excite lust or passion. The imagination itself must be inflamed by every means. For us, then, emancipated from all base of law, what shall we do to satisfy our will to unity? No less a mistress than the universe, no lupanar more crammed than infinite space, no night of. Okay, I'm not reading that. Consider that the love is mighty to bring forth all ecstasy. So absence of love is the greatest craving. Whoso is balked in love suffereth indeed. For he that had not actively that passion in his heart towards some object is weary with the ache of craving. And this state is called mystically dryness. For this there is, as I believe, no cure but patient persistence in the rule of life. No, I don't like Mr. Beast, bro. Mr. Beast controls the metadata for YouTube. Now everyone wants to be Mr. Beast now. So because Mr. Beast takes away from watching stuff like this, like what I produce and stuff like that, it's because of people like Mr. Beast that like basically like make that kind of brain rotty content, that it's not to say high production, but like, okay, now you're going a little bit wacko on me. Now you're going a little bit wacko on me. I'm gonna have to ask you to chill. I'm gonna keep reading, okay? But this dryness has its virtue, and that of thereby the soul is purged of those things that impeach the will. For when the drought is altogether perfect, then it is certain by no means that the soul can be satisfied, save by accomplishment of the great work. And this, in the strong souls of stimulus to the will, is the furnace of thirst that burns up all dross within us. But to each act of will is particular, dryness corresponds, and love increase within you, so does the torment of his absence. Be this also unto you for consolation is the ordeal. However, the more fierce the plague of impotence, the more swiftly and subtly it won't be to abate. Here is the method of love and meditation. Let the aspirant first practice to discipline himself in the art of fixing the attention upon anything whatsoever at will, without permitting the least imaginable distraction. Let him also practice the art of the analysis of ideas, and that of refusing to allow the mind in its natural reaction to them, pleasant or unpleasant, thus fixing himself in the simplicity and indifference. These things are being achieved in their ripe season. Be it known to you that all ideas will have become equal to your apprehension, since each is simple and each indifferent, any one of them reimagining in the mind at will without stirring or striving, or tending to pass on to any other. What's up? Welcome to the stream. You get a bell for coming to the stream. Nokia? She listens to Drake! Oh my god, she listens to Drake. She listens to Drake, bro. Drake has a song called Nokia. She listens to Drake, guys. Boo her. She listens to Drake. Boo. Boo. Yeah. Nokia. No, man, that's a bad Drake song. Ain't nobody listening to Nokia by Drake. But each idea will possess one special a quality common to all. This that know any of them that is a self, inasmuch as perceived by the self of summoning of opposite. When this is thorough and profound in the impact of its realization, but it is the moment of the aspirant to direct his will to love upon it, so that his whole consciousness finds it upon that one idea. And that the first that may be fixed and dead or lightly held, this Nokia string is strong. I thought you were talking about the Drake song Nokia. Just have to check you real quick. G-check. You dig? This this may then pass into dryness or into repulsion, but at the last by pure persistence in that act of will to love, shall love himself arise as a bird, as a flame, as a song, and the whole soul shall wing a fiery path of music into the ultimate heaven of possession. Now in this method there are many roads and ways. Then at last by pure persistence is that act of will to love, shall love himself arise as a bird, as a flame, as a song, and the whole soul shall wing a fiery path of a music unto the ultimate heaven of possession. Now in this method there are many roads and ways, some simple and direct, some hidden and mysterious, even as it is with human love, whereof no man hath made so much as the first sketches for a map, for love is infinite in diversity even as are the stars. Why am I shaking? Oh, I'm kind of like jittery a little bit. My bad. People comment on that a lot. For this cause do I leave love himself master in the heart for every one of you. For he shall teach you rightly if you but serve him with diligence and devotion even to abandonment. Nor should you take umbrage or surprise at the strange pranks that he shall play, for he is a wayward boy and wanton, wise in the wiles of our Aphrodite our lady, his sweet mother, and all his jests and cruelties are spices and a confection cunning as no art may match. Rejoice therefore in all his play, not remitting in any wise your own ardor, but glowing with the sting of his whips, and making of laughter itself a sacrament adjuvant to love, even as the wine of Rheims is sparkle and bite, like as there was a minister of the high priest of its intoxication. It also fit that I write you of the importance of purity in love. Now this matter concerns not only the wise object or the method of its practice, but the one thing that's essential is that no alien element should intrude, and that this is the most particular pertinence of to the aspirant of that primary and mundane aspect of his work, wherefore he established himself in the method towards his natural affections. Stable Ronaldo? Are you saying that because he's brown like me, bro? I don't even watch those phase people. Those phase people are weird. Jason Lewin, Stable Ronaldo, Lacey, Black Boy Max. Like I don't watch those guys, bro. I see them on my shorts feed all the time. That's why I know their name. Adept. Like I don't watch phase no more. I'm not 16. I'm 22. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you're talking about the soccer player. I thought you were talking about the YouTuber Stable Ronaldo. I mean, growing up, I was always an Argentina fan, so I'm gonna say Messi. You know, I always grew up liking Argentina. Argentinian women are fine too, eh? Hey, if you're Argentinian, hit me up in the comments. We can get Messi. We can get Messi. We can get Messi. 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 For Nova, all things are masks or symbols of the one truth, and nature serves always to point out the higher perfection under the veil of a lower perfection, so that all the art and craft of a human love shall serve you as a hieroglyphic. For it is written that that which is above is that which is below, and that which is below is that which above. Therefore also does it behove you to take well heed lest in any matter you fail in this business of purity. For though each act is to be complete in its own plane, and no influence of any other plane is to be brought into interference or added mixture, for that such is all impurity. Hello. Yet each act should itself be so complete and perfect that it is a mirror of the perfection of every other plane, and thereby becomes partakers of the pure light of the highest. Also, since all acts are to be acts of will and freedom on every plane, all planes are reality but one, and thus the lowest expression of any function of that will is to be at the same time an expression of the highest will, or only true will, which is already implied in the acceptance of a law. Be it also well understood of you that it is not necessary or right to shut off natural activity of any kind, as certain false folks, eunuchs of the spirit, most foully teach to the destruction of many. For in everything soever inherit its own perfection proper to it, and to neglect the full operation and function of any one part brings distortion and degeneration to the whole. Act therefore in all ways, but transforming the effect of all of these ways into one way of the will. This is possible because all ways are in actual truth one way. The universe being self is the one and one only, and it appears as multiplicity that cardinal illusion which is the very object of love to dissipate. In the achievement of love are two principles, that of mastering and that of yielding. But the nature of these is hard to explain, for they are subtle and best taught by love himself in the course of our operations. But it is to be said generally, but the choice of one formula or the other is automatic, being the work of the innermost will, which is alive within you. Seek not then to determine consciously this decision, for here in truth the instinct is not liable to err. But now I end without further words, for in our holy books are written many details of the actual practices of love, and those were the best and truest which are most subtly written in symbol and image, especially in tragedy and comedy. For the whole nature of these things is in kind life itself, being but the fruit of the flower of love. It is then of life that I must need to now write to you, seeing that every act of will and love you're creating it, a quintessence more mysterious and joyous than you deem, for this which men call life is a shadow of that true life, your birthright and the gift of the law of will. So I'm gonna write that down, guys. Canti collection. love, mastering, and yielding. Hey, welcome to the stream. You get a bell for joining. Welcome to the stream. My name is Ken. I'm the host of the Ikwan Tahab. So we just finished chapter 2. We're halfway done Liber 150. We're halfway done book 150. Now, I'm great. I'm great actually. We just finished Liber halfway through Liber 150, Liber de Liege Libellum, and we're gonna take a small break to recuperate, discuss things, talk about them, and discuss further on what we've learned from the first half of the book. How are you? How was your day? How was life for you? Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Yeah, we're gonna read the rest. We're gonna read the. You're just in time. We love our toy pups for. You're just in time for last. You're just in time for the second half of the book, so I'm gonna give you a couple of minutes to think about this for a second. In chapter 2, we read that the two principles of love are mastery and yielding. So think about that for a second. The mastership of love and the yielding of love. Think about that for a second, guys. While I go get a drink. Give me a second. Lemonade. Crunchy ice. Sip it once. Sip it twice. Got some lemonade. We believe that there's two kinds of love, a special love and a holy love. Special love comes with boundaries and a holy love comes unconditional. So, I think that when Crowley talks about the two principles of love being mastership and yielding, we're into yoga and we are learning about relationships. Yeah. What type of yoga do you do? What do you know? Are you just kind of person? Okay, I'm not like being disrespectful when I say this, but when you say when you say yoga, right? Are you talking about like just stretches, postures, and breathing, or are you subscribed to a specific school of yoga? Because there's tons of schools of yoga. There's four main, according to the Bhagavad Gita. There's four main schools of yoga. There's Raja Yoga, Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, and Karma Yoga. And actually, yesterday at the Toronto event, I learned about Karma Yoga yesterday. But yeah, there's different types of yoga. Um, I personally do Hatha yoga, and I could tell you more about that if you let me know what kind of school. Do you do Kriya yoga, Kundalini yoga, pranayama yoga is just Hatha yoga, but Hatha yoga, chakra yoga. There's tons of different schools of yoga, you know. So it's like if you're like familiar with what type of yoga you do, then be sure to let me know, and I'll provide you with some insight that because I practice hatha yoga, right? So it's like that I can go into detail what that entails, but I oh just studying? Okay. Okay. Okay, sure. We're studying not just into the postures. Okay. May I recommend then, if you're gonna understand like reading about yoga, if you're gonna understand reading about yoga, you should read Vivekananda. You should read Vivekananda. He um he has a comprehensive guide on all four schools of yoga: Raja, not Hatha, Raja, Bhakti, Jnana, and Karma Yoga. So if you read Vivekananda's book on yoga, he has like a really good comprehensive guide to understanding all four schools. But I practice Hatha yoga, and Hatha yoga is a practice of evening and regulating oneself through the act of postures and breathing techniques. So asanas and pranayama is what it's called in the Hindu sense, in the Vedic sense. So Hatha means sun moon. So Hatha means sun and moon. So and it's kind of, I don't know if it's necessarily ambiguous into why it's called sun and moon yoga, but from what I understand, uh the reason why Hatha yoga is called sun and moon yoga is because the reason why Hatha yoga is called sun and moon yoga is because the sun and moon balance each other out. When people think about the sun and moon eclipsing together, they think about a form of balance and they think about a form of equilibrium. From what I understand, right? From what I understand, uh, the reason why Hatha yoga is called sun and moon is because the posture is the sun and the breathing technique is the moon. So when you combine the posture with the breathing technique, i.e., when you combine the sun with the moon, you create a balance in yourself. The purpose of Hatha yoga is not to attain some sort of transcendent, outlandish, mystical result, believe it or not. The purpose of Hatha yoga is to even oneself out. It's to ground. It's to even yourself out. It's to get yourself on a level basis. So Hatha yoga is really, it's one of those interesting things, and I've always, yeah, yoga is definitely about fine, but there's different types of yoga, right? There is like yoga that's like meant for balance, but then there's like the transcendent type of yoga, and where you're harnessing like your yogic fire at your root chakra all the way throughout your system. So that's like Kundalini yoga. So Kundalini yoga is a very transcendent form of yoga, and oh, you do pranayama, nice. Yeah, I have my own breathing technique that I do that I don't really share with people because there's something difficult always happens every time I try to explain to someone. But it consists of taking deep breaths, holding in inhalations, doing certain postures, poses, mudras, and stuff like that. Breathing techniques are good. Have you tried box breathing before? Box breathing is really good. I typically put people onto box breathing. Box breathing is really good. But yeah, hatha yoga is like it's my jam for sure. Hatha yoga is my jam. Ooh, 478. Wow. That's some deep code in there. There's some deep codes in there. I'm gonna tell you how. There's some deep Vedic symbolism in the 478 code, and I'll explain how. I think it might be Buddhist in nature. It might be like Buddhist Hindu in nature. But but the 47, like 478. Like when you are like when you're using like these numbers, you're invoking their code that uh oh, meditation. I used to do meditation a little bit, a little bit every single day. Excuse me. But yeah, I used to do meditation. The fire breathing, the breath of fire is good. 416.8. Oh, nice. Um, hey, we love our toy pups 4. Have you ever heard of abdomen breathing? I would love to give you something that you can take from the stream. So have you ever heard of abdomen breathing? I can teach you how to abdomen breathe if you like by the end of the stream. I can teach you how to abdomen breathe. I'm excited too. I'm excited too. Real shit. No, but would you like to know some abdomen breathing? Because I would like to give you something that you could take away from this stream. Okay, so you don't know abdomen breathing. Okay, so abdomen breathing is how I do my pranayama. Like when I'm doing my pranic breathing techniques, when I'm doing the breath of fire, when I'm doing my own breathing technique, when I'm doing box breathing, any type of pranayama I do abdomen breathing. Now abdomen breathing, maybe later we'll do some breathing later. Hey, we'll do some breathing later, okay? Trust me, we'll do some. Well, actually, after the stream, we'll we'll recite some mantras actually, but after the stream we'll do some breathing techniques after the stream, but abdomen breathing is basically it's purely done with your nose, so you don't use your mouth at all in this. It's purely done through the nose. Now I'm gonna explain it very very thoroughly and very easily. Okay, you inhale, you have your abdomen go outwards. You exhale, you have your abdomen go inwards. So instead of breathing with your chest like most people do, you're breathing with your abdomen, you're breathing with your core. It's called diaphragm breathing as well. Another word for it is diaphragm breathing. But breathing with your abdomen is how it was originally intended. And this can also, I heard, help cure sleep apnea to a certain degree too. I heard if you abdomen breathe, that this is just hearsay. Don't take my word for it. But I heard abdomen breathing can help treat sleep apnea. So, yeah. So in through your nose, out through your nose. In, breathe in, abdomen out, breathe out, abdomen in. That's how it works. It's the law of polarity. It's polarization, basically. You're welcome. Have you tried it? Yeah, you want to breathe from your abs. You want to breathe from your abs instead of breathing from your chest. And it's funny. The simile that somebody made for breathing from your chest is you're trying to look all buff and you're trying to look all cool, puffing your chest out, right? But yeah, abdomen breathing is saved my life, honestly. But abdomen breathing with pranayama is killer. It's killer. Like abdomen breathing with pranayama, pranic breathing techniques is very very good. You should try it. No, you're awesome. You're awesome. You're in the stream. Can we get a bell for you? Bell. It's a singing bowl, but I call it a bell. Could you do me a favor? Could you get more people to join the stream? Hey, C-Wag, what's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? What's good? No, but here's something cool I want to share you. So typically, uh, here I know because you was being out of pocket, bro. You was being out of pocket. You dig? And you're also being distracting from the reading. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah, share it live. Share it live. It gets me to keep doing. The more people who tune into the stream, the more on task of the topics I have in hand, I'll be able to like get you guys. Oh, we get drunk. I don't drink, so I don't know, man. You gotta kick the cup. You gotta kick the bottle, bro. If you're gonna be drunk, don't come here because it's a place of learning, not drunkenness. Hey. Keep us on the low, but hey, keep us on the low, but that stream I was a little stoned during that stream, okay? But you should be able to handle your substance, okay? But you wouldn't know that if I didn't tell you, right? You wouldn't know that if I didn't tell you. Yeah, yeah, that's what I'm saying, Tyrone. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Drink in moderation. Yeah, but what's it called? Like, you you should be able to like handle whatever substance you're taking. If it overcomes you, you shouldn't be doing it in a public setting. You should be doing that shit on your ones, right? Like that's why I don't understand why people do like these psychedelic festivals and stuff like that. Like you could imagine having like a full on ego death and you're out here with a bunch of random people in a forest playing like tripped out music. That's not a conducive environment to like expanding your mind, honestly. Like I don't understand these psychedelic festivals and like these raves and stuff like that where people take like these heavy psychedelics and stuff like that. Yes, but not to the point of getting drunk though. Jesus did drink wine, but he didn't do it to the point of getting drunk. The Bible talks about drinking, yes, and like in a in a spiritual sense. Yes, like alcohol is like used in a ritualistic sense, but drunkenness is not allowed, biblically speaking. Drunkenness is not allowed. So drinking alcohol is fine, but and biblically speaking, but drunkenness is not allowed. And the Islamic faith, just purely alcohol is just out of it. You think Jesus got drunk? What the hell? What the hell? I don't know if that's even the right thing to say about him. That's hey yo. Yo, imagine him at the imagine him at the last. Okay. I don't drink, and Tyrone, maybe you can like back me up on this, but I don't drink. But I hear these stories about some people are drunk, and then they'll have like a "oh I love you guys" kind of moment when they're drunk. So I'm imagining Jesus when he was at the Last Supper. If he was drunk, he'd be like, y'all is my homies, right? I love y'all, man. Yeah. He'd be like, you is my homies. It's my friends. It's my lovers. Like, like, like if he was drunk during the Last Supper, that makes sense on why he was sharing his sentiments so wholeheartedly to his disciples. You are one wild card. Oh, by the way, thank you. We love our toy pups. For sharing the live stream, but you are one oddball, Swag, because uh most people they regret their times drinking. Like for them, like drinking is a time of regret. It's a time of sorrow. It's a time of bad decisions. Some people drink and they lose themselves in the alcohol. Now that's typically, and that's actually why I don't drink. I don't drink because no one has ever told me that they've had like a spiritually profound experience drinking. You know, like no one's ever told me like, wow, like I really found myself when I was drinking this pint of whiskey or this pint of beer or this pint of wine or whatever people drink nowadays. You should see, like you should Eucharist, you should try Eucharisting whatever drink you should try purifying, like blessing over your drinks, your alcoholic beverages. Cause I don't drink, right? So I wanted to see what it's like for people to do that. You find yourself every night. Yeah, I'm kind of leaving on love. I'm kind of leaning on what Love Our Toy Pups for is saying. I think drinking will distract you. You know, drinking will distract you for sure. Because when you guys think about it, where does the name alcohol come from? It comes from the Arabic word al-guhul, right? I did try it. I didn't like it very much. It didn't seem right. Like it just seemed strange. Honestly, I don't think necessarily alcohol is only. Oh, what's up? Peace. Walaikum assalam. I don't think alcohol only hurts the weak minded. I think you can be as strong as you want, but here's the thing, bro. When I'm on like when I'm on like weed, I don't feel the need to like fight against an entity to give me the enlightenment of it. That's why I think there's such a distinguishment between alcohol and weed. Like weed, you can like there is some psychological side effects to weed, especially if you take it in excess. 100% there's psychological side effects to weed, but those can be, in my opinion, those can be bypassed way easier than alcohol. I think alcohol is like a different demon, to be honest. Like it's a different spirit. A different spirit resides over alcohol than it does weed. So it's because like word. Yeah, I smoke. I'm not gonna say how frequently I smoke, but Lord knows, man. Lord knows. Yeah, so we're halfway through the book, guys. What do you guys think? Should we continue reading it? I think we should, honestly. All day, every day. You weren't joking when you said all day, every day. Eh? Love our toy pups. You weren't. All right, guys. Let's continue reading the rest of the book because I want to get shit done this stream. Not really a secret when it's with me, unfortunately. Anyway, let's continue, guys. Let's continue. Okay, guys, ready? Chapter 3 of Life. Systole and diastole, these are the phases of all component things. Of such also is the life of man. Its curve arises from the latency of the fertilized ovum, says you, to a zenith where it declines to the nullity of death. Rightly considered, this is not wholly truth. The life of man is but one segment of the serpentine curve, which reaches out to infinity. And its zero is what marks the changes from the plus to minus and minus to plus coefficients of its equations. It is for this cause, among many others, that wise men in old times chose the serpent as the hieroglyph of life. Life then is indestructible as all else is. All destruction and construction are changes in the nature of love, as I have written to you in the former chapter approximate. Yet even as the blood in one pulse throb of the wrist is not the same blood as in the next, so individuality is in part destroyed by each life passeth, say nay even with each thought. What then maketh man if he died and was reborn, a changed living of each breath? This the consciousness of continuity given by memory, the conception of itself as something whose existence is far from being threatened by these changes, is in verity asserted by them. Let then the aspirant to the sacred wisdom consider himself no more as one segment of the serpent, but as the whole. Let him extend his consciousness to regard both birth and death as incidents, trivial and systole as diastole of the heart itself, and necessary as they to its function. To fix the mind in its apprehension of life, two modes are preferred. As preliminary to the greater realization to be discussed in their proper order, experiences which transcend even those attainments of liberty and love, which I have here though written, and this of life which I now inscribe this in my little book, which I am asking for you that you may come into the great fulfillment. The first mode is the acquisition of the magical memory, so called, and the means is described with accuracy and clearness in certain of our holy books. But for nearly all men, this is found to be a practice of exceeding difficulty. Let the aspirant follow the impulse of his own will in the decision to choose this or no. The second mode is easy, agreeable, not tedious, and in the end as certain as the other. But as the way of error in the former lieth in discouragement, so in the latter are you to beware of false paths. I may say indeed generally of all works that there are two dangers, the obstacle of failure and the snare of success. Now this second mode is to dissociate the beings which make up your life, firstly because it is easy you should segregate that form which is called the body of light, and set yourself to travel in this form, making systematic exploration of those worlds which are to material things what your body of light is to your own material form. Now it will occur to you in these travels that you come to many gates which you are not able to pass. This is because your body of life is itself as yet not strong enough or subtle enough or pure enough, and you must then learn to dissociate the elements of the body by a process similar to the first, your consciousness remaining in the higher and leaving the lower. In this practice do you continue, bending your will like a great bow to drive the arrow of your consciousness through heavens or even higher and holier. But the continuance in this way is itself of vital value, for it shall be that presently habit herself shall persuade you that the body which is born and dieth, which no little space of one cycle of Neptune in the zodiac, is no essential for yourself, that the life of which you are become partaker, while itself subject to the law of action and reaction, ebb and flow, systole and diastole, is yet insensible to the affliction of that life which you formerly held to your sole bond of existence. It's okay. And here must you resolve yourself to make the mightiest endeavors. For so flowered are the meadows of this Eden, and so sweet the fruit of its orchards, that you will live to linger among them, and to take delight and sloth and dalliance therein. Oh, what's up, Icy? Oh, welcome to the stream. I shall bring a bell for you. Welcome to the stream! My name is Ken, and we are reading Liber 150, book 150 by Alistair Coley. Icy's your friend? No way! The sharing actually worked. That's sick. Welcome, love our toy pups friend, Icy. Welcome to the stream. We're reading Liber 150, or book 150. Icy. What's up, Icy? What's up, Icy? Indeed it is. It is a chill chat tonight. It's just us. We're gonna be reading a book live. We're gonna be reading Liber 150. We're on the part of explaining the principle of life. Yeah, share the live if you can, yeah. Therefore I write to you with energy that you shall not do thus the hindrance of your true progress, because all these enjoyments are dependent upon duality. So that true nature is sorrow of illusion, like that of a normal life of man, which you have not set out to transcend. Be it according to your will, but learn this, that as it is written, they are only happy to have desired the unattainable. It is then best ultimately, if it be your will, to find away your chiefest pleasure in love, that is in conquest and in death, that is in surrender, and I have written to you already. You're falling asleep? You should go to sleep. I'd rather you go to sleep and tend to your needs. You don't have to come here. It's completely optional. Furthermore, I will have you know that in this practice, pursuit of ardor unquenchable is a special grace, that you will come as it were by fortune into states which transcend the practice itself, being the nature of those works of pure light, of which I will to write to you in the chapter following after this. For there be certain gates which no being who is still in consciousness of individuality, that is the self and the not self, are as opposites. Aw, thank you. Aw. That's sweet. I appreciate that. For there be certain gates which no being who is still conscious of individuality, that is, of a self and not self as opposites, may pass through. That end is the storming of those gates by fiery assault of a lust celestial. Your flame will burn vehemently against your gross self, though it is already divine beyond your present imagining, and devour it in a mystical depth, so at the passing of the gate, all is dissolved in the formless light of unity. Now then, returning from these states of being, and in their return all full of the dark is a mystery of joy, you will be weaned from the milk of darkness and of the moon, and made partaker of the sacrament of wine that is the blood of the sun. Yet at the first there are many to be shock or conflict, for the old thought persists by force of his habit. It is for you to create by repeated act through the true right habit in this consciousness of the life which abideth in light. Hey, can we chill and enjoy this? Hey, no distractions. I want to enjoy the reading. Okay, we can get distracted a little bit. Those are the guys who made that Chop Suey song, right? I think I want to know Chop Suey. Everyone knows Chop Suey by System of a Down. Everyone knows that song from them though, so that's I don't win any points for that. Yet are there first there may be shock and conflict, for the old thought persists by force of its habit. It is for you to create by repeated act the true right of habits of this consciousness of a light with abiding light. And this is easy. If your will be strong, For the true life is much more vivid and quintessential for the false, that as I really estimate, 1 hour of the former makes an impression on the memory equal to 1 year of the latter. One single experience in duration, and maybe but a few seconds of terrestrial times, is sufficient to destroy the belief in the reality of our vain life on earth. But this wears gradually away if the consciousness through the shock of fear adhere not to it. And the will strives not to continuously to repeat repetition of that bliss, but more beautiful and terrible than death. Which is won by virtue of love. There is more so for many modes of sustaining the apprehension of life, and these two following are of much value in breaking up the ice of your mortal error and vision of being. These are the first is the constant contemplation of the identity of love and death, and understanding the dissolution of body as an act of love done upon the body of the universe, and also it is written at length of our holy books, and with this goes that we're sister and with twin brother, the practice of moral love as the sacrament symbolical of that great death, as written, kill thyself and again die daily. And the second of these lesser modes is the practice of the mental apprehension and analysis of ideas, mainly as I have already taught you, but with the emphasis of in choice of things naturally repulsive. In particular, death itself and its phenomena ancillary. Thus the Buddha bade his disciples to meditate upon 10 impurities, that is, upon 10 cases of death with composition, so that the aspirant, identifying with himself with his own corpse in all of his imagined forms, might lose the natural horror, loathing, fear, or disgust which he might have had for them. Knowing then that every idea of every sort becomes unreal, fantastic, and most manifest illusion, it be subjected to persistent investigation of concentration. And this is particularly easy to attain in the case of all bodily impressions, because all material things, and especially those of which we were first consciously, namely, our own bodies, are the grossest and most unnatural of all falsities. For there is in all of us latent and light where no error may endure, and already teaches our instincts to reject first of all those veils which are most closely wrapped about it. For us also in meditation, it is for many men most profitable to concentrate the will to love upon the sacred centers of nervous force, for they, like all things, are apt images or true reflections of their symbols in finer spheres, so that their gross natures be dissipated by the dissolving ashes of meditation, their finer souls appeared to speak, so to speak, naked, and display their force and glory in the consciousness of the aspirant. Yeah, verily, let your will to love burn eagerly towards this creation and yourself of the true life that rolls its wave across the shoreless sea of time. Live not your petty lives in fear of the hours. The moon and sun and stars by which you measure time are themselves but servants of that life which pulses into you. Joyous drum beat as your march triumphant through the avenue of the ages. Then, when each birth and death of yours are recognized in this perception as mere milestones of your ever-living road, what of the foolish incidents of your mean lives? Are they not grains of sand blown by the desert or wind, or pebbles that you spurn with your winged feet, or grassy hollows where you press to the yielding elastic turf and mock with lyrical dances? To him who lives in life not matters, but he is eternal motion, energy, delight of never failing, change unwearied, you pass from aeon to aeon, from star to star, the universe your playground, its infinite variety of sport ever old and ever new. All those ideas which bred sorrow and fear are known in their truth, and thus become the seed of joy, for you are certain beyond all proof that you can never die, that though you change is part of your own nature, the great enemy is becoming the great ally. And now, rooted in this perfection, yourself becomes a verily tree of life. You have fulcrum to your lever. You are ready to understand that this pulsation of unity is itself duality, and therefore is the highest and most sacred sense, until still sorrow and illusion, which have comprehended, aspire yet again, even as the fourth of the gift of the law, unto the end path, even unto light. Final chapter! Final chapter! Final chapter! Final chapter, guys. We're on the final chapter of Liber 150. How are you guys liking it so far? What have you guys thought about final chapter? of light. No, so this deals with this deals with the this deals with the principle of light, guys. This deals with the principle of light itself. This is the final chapter of Liber 150. Final chapter. And then we're going to move on to the next book. Of Light, chapter 4. I pray you, be patient with me and that which I shall write concerning light. For here is a difficulty ever increasing in the use of words. Moreover, I am myself carried away. Moreover, I am myself carried away, away constantly and overwhelmed by the sublimity of this matter. I do too sometimes, eh? I do too sometimes. It depends on how much energy I'm putting into it. So that play speech may whirl into lyric, when I would ply peaceably with didactic expression, my best hope is that you may understand by virtue of the sympathy of your intuition, even as two lovers may converse in language as unintelligible to others as seems silly, wanton, and dull, or as an other intoxication given by ether, the partakers commune with infinite wit or wisdom as the mood taketh them, by means of words of gesture, be initiated the apprehensive of subtlety of a drug. So may I that am inflamed with love of this light, and drunken on the wine ethereal of this light, communicate not so much with your reason and intelligence, but with that principle hidden in yourself which is ready to partake with me. Even so many men and women become mad with love, no word being as spoken between them, because of the induction as a word of their souls. And your understanding will develop upon your ripeness for perception of my truth. Moreover, if so, be that light, and you be ready to break forth. Then light will interpret to you these dark words in the language of light, even as a string inanimate, duly adjusted, will vibrate into its peculiar tone struck on another chord. Read therefore not only with the eye of the brain, but with the rhythm of that life which you have attained by your will to love, the quickened to dancing measures by these words, which are the movements of the wand of my will to love, and to enkindle your life to light. Hey, don't berate other people in the live. Unless you're just joking, but still. You helping? Maybe. That's all I'm saying. Like, you didn't even know that she was a woman. Icy's a woman. Hey, that's savage, bro. Don't hit them with the savage dialogue just yet. In this mood did I interrupt myself in the writing of this my little book, and for 2 days and nights sleeplessly have I made consideration restlessly behaving with my spirit, lest by hest or carelessness I fail towards you. An exercise of will and love are implied motion. An exercise of will and of love are implied motion and change, but in life is gained unity, in which movements and change is only in pulse or in phase, and even as music, yet in the attainment of this life you will already have experienced the quintessence thereof is pure light, and ecstasy formless, and without bound or mark. In this light not exist, for it is homogeneous, and therefore have men call it silence, darkness, and nothing. But in this, as in all effort to name it, is the root of every falsity and misapprehension, since all words imply some duality. Therefore, though I call it light, it is not light nor absence of light. Many also have sought to describe it by contradictions, since through transcendent negation of all speech, it may by some natures be attained. Also by images and symbols have men striven to express it, but always in vain. Yet those who are raised to apprehend the nature of this light have understood by sympathy, And so shall it with you to read this little book, loving it. However, be it known to you that the best of all instruction on this matter, and the word best suited to the aeon of Horus, is written in the book of the law. Yet of the book Araita is right worthy in the book of light, as trigrammaton, that of will corticinti serpenti, in the way of love, and liberally that of life. All these books also concern all these four gifts, for in the end you will see that every one is inseparable from every other. I wouldn't know. I don't know how much I agree with that statement, bro. Maybe that sounds like a very gross generalization. I think women definitely do take risks. They say shoot is shoot. Hey, hey, do that and what's good with you? You know what I'm saying? Hey man, everyone's entitled to their own opinions, but let's stay on topic. Let's stay on topic of what we're reading. We're gonna read the rest of the stream. Bye, Icy. Have a nice day. Leaving you off with a bell. Good night. Okay. Yeah. Also, the book Ararata is right worthy in the work of light, as Triagrammaton. On this matter, and the word best suited to the Anaphors is written in the book of the law. Bye. See you later. Was Will one of them? Liberty. Hey, thanks for having my back, Tyrone. Thanks for Tyrone W moderator. W mod Tyrone. W mod Tyrone. I'm just writing something down, guys. Give me a second. I mean, there's a difference between equality and equity, right? So it's like, I feel like men and women are equal in the aspect of where in some areas men will lack in, women will exceed in others, right? So it's like, and vice versa. And where some areas where women will lack in, men will exceed in others. So I think it all equals to relative results. It's just in different fields. That's all. Are we still good? Are we still good? The book Ararita. Okay, so there's a canon that Crowley has us guiding. Canon. Give me a second, guys. Rita equals light trigrammaton equals. Hey, welcome back to the stream. Trigrammaton will 65 equals love and Liber equals life. What are we talking about, Tyrone? Honestly, I don't know if C-Wag's on. He's kind of on some weird tangent. But Tyrone, we're on the last chapter of Liber 150. Yeah, we're on the last chapter of Liber 150. Oh, thank you so much. I love our toy pups. Yeah. We're reading the end of Liber 150, Tyrone, and right now we just got a canon of books that Crowley gave us. So Liber Aritas of Light, Liber Trigrammatons of Will, Liber 65s of Love, and Liber Liberi is of Life. So yeah, we basically just have like, so Crowley basically gave us like at the end. You good, Mud? They got security guards for me. You good, Mud? You good, Mud? Yeah. All these books also concern all these four gifts, for in the end you will see that every one is inseparable from every other. I wish to write you regard to the number 93, the number of agape thelema, for if only the number of its interpretation agape, but also of that word unknown to you is the neophyte of a holy order of the AA, which word represented in itself the rising of the speech from the silence, and the return of the end. Now the number 93 is thrice 91, which is in Hebrew El, that is to say not, and it denies extension to the three dimensions of space. So I would have you meditate most closely upon the name Nu, that is 56, which are told to divide, add, multiply, understand. By divisions come forth 0.12. If I was right, Nuiv, Hadit, Rahor, Kui before the Diad. By addition arise 11, the number of true magic, and by multiplication 300, the number of the Holy Spirit fire. The letter Sheen, where all things are consumed utterly. With these considerations and a full understanding of the mystery of the number 66 and 418, we will be armed mightily in this way of fair flight. This man's on a weird tangent, eh? But you shouldn't also consider all numbers in their scales, for there is no means of resolution better than the pure mathematics, since already therein are gross ideas made fine, and all ordeals ready for the alchemy of the great work. I have already written unto you in the will of love, a light ariseth at the secret part of life, and in the first the light little loves, the attained life is still personal. Later it becomes impersonal, universal. Now then is will arrived, may, may I say so, and its magnetic pull, whence the light and fourth point alike every way and no way, and love also is moral work but a state. These qualities are become part of the universal light, which proceeds infinitely with the enjoyment of the will, and of love and is inherent therein. These things, therefore, in their perfection, have lost their names and their nature. Yet these were the substance of life, its father and mother, and without their operation impact, life itself will gradually cease its pulsations. But since the infinite energy of the whole universe is therein, what then is possible but that it returns to its own flight intention, dissolving itself by little into light, which is the most secret and most subtle nature? For this universe is in truth zero, being an equation whereof zero is the sum. Whereof this is proof, and if not, it would be unbalanced, and sometimes would have come from nothing, which is absurd. This light or nothing is the resultant or totality, therefore, of perfection, and of therefore state, positive or negative, are imperfect since they omit their opposites. Yet I will have you consider that this equality or identity of equation between all things and no thing is most absolute, so that you will remain no more in the one that you did in the other. And you will understand this greatest mystery very easily in the light of those other experiences which you have enjoyed, wherein motion and rest, change and stability, and many other subtle oppositions have been redeemed to identity by the force of your holy meditation. The greatest gift of the law then comes forth by the most practice from the three lesser gifts, and so you must travel into this work that you are able to pass from one side of the equation to the other at will, nay, to comprehend the whole at once and forever. This in your time and space bound soul shall travel according to its nature and orbit, revealing the law to them that walks in change, for that in your turn, in your particular function. Now there is the mystery of the origin of evil. Firstly, by evil we mean that which is in opposition to our own wills. It is therefore a relative and not absolute term, for everything which is the greatest evil of someone is the greatest good of some other. Just as the hardness of the wood, which wearieth the axeman, and the safety of him that ventures himself upon the sea in a ship built out of wood. And this is a truth easy to apprehend, being superficial and intelligible to the common mind. All evil is thus relative, or apparent, or illusory, but returning to philosophy, I'll repeat that its root is always in duality. Therefore, the escape from this apparent evil is to seek the unity, which you shall do as I have already shown you. But I would now make mention that was written concerning this in the book of the law. The first step being will. Evil appears as by definition all that hinders the execution of the will. Therefore it is written, the word of sin is restriction. It should also be noted that in the book The 30 Ethers, evil appears as Corazon, whose number is 333, which Greek importeth impotence and idleness, and the nature of Corazon is dispersion and incoherence. The nature of Corazon is dispersion and incoherence. Corazon. His nature is of What's up? His nature is of dispersion, and incoherence. Oh, what's up, John? Yo, we're gonna get 3 bells for John right here. Welcome to the stream, John. How are you doing, buddy? We're reading just the end of Liber 150. We're about to finish the end of Liber 150. We're gonna go on a little break after we finish the stream, just to go break after we finish the book, just to recuperate and pray. But we're just about to finish Liber 150, book 150, which is a book that talks about basically like the emanating qualities of, let's see, the emanating qualities of liberty, love, life, and light in terms of like the Thelemic law. So yeah, I'm great. I'm great. Honestly, I'm feeling awesome. I honestly did not expect you to come into the stream. This is a pleasant surprise, John. Pleasant surprise. You know, um, I'm feeling great. I'm feeling great. I am feeling great. Then, in the way of love, evil appears as all that which tends to prevent the union of any two things. Thus, the Book of Allah says, on the figure of the voice of Nuit, take your fill and will of love as you will, when and with to whom you will, but always unto me. For every act of love must be under will, that is in accordance with the true will, which is not to rest content with things partial and transitionary, but to see firmly to the end. So also in the Book of the 30 Ethers, the black brothers are those who shut themselves up, unwilling to destroy themselves by love. Thirdly, in the way of life, evil appears under a subtler form, and all that which is not impersonal and universal. Here, the Book of Allah. Let's go! We're going places. We're going places. Here, the Book of Allah, by the voice of Hadi, informs us, in the sphere I am everywhere the center, and again I am life and the giver of life. Come unto me is a foolish word, for it is I that go. For I am perfect, being not. For this life in every place and time at once, so that in these limitations no longer exist, and you have had seen this for yourself, that in every act of love, time and space disappear with the creation of a life by its virtue, and also does personality itself. For the third time, even in subtler sense, the word of sin is restriction. Lastly, in the way of light, the same versatile is the key to the concept of evil, but here restriction is a failure to solve the great equation, and later to prefer one expression or phase of the universe to the other. Against this, we are warned in the Book of Allah by word of Nuit saying, none and two, for I am divided for love's sakes for the chance of union, and therefore, if this be not aright, if you confound the space mark saying they are one, or saying they are many, then accept direful judgment. Now therefore, by the favor of Thoth, that I come to you, the end of my book, to arm yourself accordingly with the full weapons, the wand for liberty, the cup for love, the sword for light, and the disc for light. And with these are all wonders of the higher art of magic under the law of the new Aeon, which words is Thelema. It gave me hey, C-Wag. Hey, nah. Oh hell nah. You is not gonna diss the regulars. You is not gonna diss you is not gonna diss the homie. You is not gonna diss the homie. I was so quick to be on his ass about that. Yo, you is not gonna be on the homie. Like John is the homie. We must protect the precious done. He said he told you to shut up basically. He told you to shut up basically. And I'm like, bruh, he be coming at you unprovoked. That guy's been weird on my live, like, bro, like I offended that so quickly he doesn't know what I'm defending him from. Yo, I offended that shit so quickly. He's like, bro, I didn't even see what I was being dissed on for. Yo, that's crazy. Yo, John, congratulations, John. You're now a mod on the stream, John. What's up? You're now a moderator on the stream. Okay. Sick, right? Awesome. Four weapons. Fire equals liberty. Liberty. Water equals love. Air equals life, and earth equals light. So guys, just to wrap up we're gonna move on to another book, but to summarize what we read about in terms of the book here, let me just cancel the green screen. There we go. To summarize what we read in Liber 150, we read about the four four aspects or the four corners of understanding Ptolemaic law. So basically, what Crowley is purporting or proposing in this book right here is that when one aligns himself with the law, when one aligns himself with the true will, with the true will, right? It emanates these four specific these four specific aspects of it. It is let me see if I got it right. Let me see if it put it in a weird way, because Chloe likes to do weird stuff. But liberty, love, life, and light. Okay, nice. So it goes. Hey, keep that as a warning, C-Wag. We is not on no bullshit this stream. But when you align yourself with the law, right? When you align yourself with the true will under the law and under loving under will, you emanate these four things that must be harnessed in order for you to abide by the law. This is liberty, love, life, and light. Very funny. Very funny, C-Wag. Very funny. Can I get a sarcastic bell for C-Wag? That was a sarcastic one. But yeah, guys, give me 1 second. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm gonna pray, because it's almost time for me to pray. But I want you guys to ruminate on what we read so far in terms of Liber 150. I want you guys to really think about it, really like bask it in, and like kind of let it be its thing. So I will be right back, and yeah, be right back, guys. All right. How did I increase in viewers? When I left. That is. How do I increase in viewers when I left? Now that is some strange stuff, eh? But hey, bruh. Bro, we got some weird people in stream, bro. We got some weirdos. We got some weirdos. Oh. Thank you. Thank you. I can't seem to do anything without people. I know, right? Bro, this guy comes to my streams all the time causing issues. Is there a way to block him from my channel? He be tripping, bro. He be tripping. He be tripping, bro. Is this one thing that got me tripping? Yeah, this is the next book we're gonna read. We're gonna actually, I'm gonna read a little bit of it. I don't think I'm gonna read this whole thing. This is 120 pages. I don't think I'm gonna get into it that deeply, but, this is, okay. I'll just read the back of the book, because, that'll be a lot more better. But New Age / Magic. In this comprehensive introduction to Enochian magic and beyond, John DeSalvo, his name is John as well. John DeSalvo explains how the magic system. Yo, John. I don't know if you're still in the stream, but I'm not trying to like dox your name. I mean, your name is like kind of like your name's kind of like on display right here. But did you know that the founder of Enochian is named John D? I'm not even lying, bro. The founder of Enochian, yeah. The founder of Enochian's name is John D, and I was like, yo, like, yeah. I was like, no way, like, I'm friends with the real John D, the founder of Enochian himself. I'm friends with the real John D. I'm John D. Yes, I'm the real John D. All you other John D's are just imitating. So what's the real John D? Please stand up. Please stand up. Please stand up. I guess there's a John D in all of us. Fuck it. Let's all stand up. Yeah, so let's read the back of the book to get some base inline information. Okay, I usually don't read backs of books, eh? I usually don't read the backs of the book. I like to go my books blind. But we're going to do the rest. We're gonna. I want to see which place I should read up to. I do want to see which place I want to read up to though, just for good measures. But is this Oh, La Milo Duquette? Okay, preface introduction. What is Enochian magic? Yeah, okay. Okay, we'll read up to page 19 because 19 has significance in Islamic traditions. So we'll read up to page 19 and then you dig? We'll read up to page 19 and then we'll cut. But that is oh, yo, I just realized I got two of my IRL homies in the stream. I got John and Tyrone. Let's go. Big chillin'. Let's go. But yeah, anyways, let's read the back of the book. In this comprehensive introduction to Enochian magic and beyond, John Dos Salvo explains how the magic system transmitted by the angels to John D. and Edward Kelly in the 16th century has until now remained incomplete and thus not as powerful as the angels intended. Drawing on his in-depth study in John Dee's diaries, DeSalvo explains how Dee and Kelly were given the Enochian tables and calls, but their communication with the angels were severed by when they received the full practical instruction from Enochian magic. To this day, most magical groups improvise and made-up rituals based on their own ideas and imaginations. The magic they practice is not true angelic magic. After... Bye, Tyrone. Love, bro. Yo, what? We'll get 7 bells for Tyrone because he works at 7. He got to work at 7 tomorrow. Let's go. Have a good night, everyone. I'll be here in stream. See. Yo, thank you so much, bro. Thank you so much for pulling up the stream, Tyrone. You're the GOAT, for real. W's and a shot for Tyrone. Ladies with gentle hands. It's my alter ego. I need the max win. I need the max win. W's in a shot. Oh, thanks, Tyrone. I appreciate that. Oh, Icy, what's good? What's good? Another strike on the bell for Icy. What do you mean? I am Drake. I don't know what you're talking. Oh, actually, no. I don't want to say that in 2025. I do not want to say that in 2025, actually. Why you trolling like a bitch? Ain't you tired? Like, you dig. I'm conflicted, you know. I look like Drake, but my name is Ken. What do I do with this information? And for all the disbelievers, the tweet and deleters, you know. All the disbelievers, the deniers, the tweet and deleters. Okay, guys, ready? Yes, sir. I'll see that clip later, John. I'll see that clip later, but that because I'll leave the live if I look at the clip. So yeah. We're gonna read up the. Actually, hold up. Let me see how big the pages are. We'll see how big the pages are. Preface, introduction. Introduction. We'll read the introduction. How about that, guys? Thanks, John. Appreciate it. Well, we'll read the introduction and then we will call it a night, guys, because I gotta do some stuff. But yeah, we're gonna read just the introduction, and then we're gonna get through it. Oh, the back of the book too. Okay. After many successful Enochian magic rituals and years of his own spiritual work, DeSalvo has discovered additional key pieces to the magical system of Dee and Kelly, as known now as power magic. He provides step-by-step instructions for more complete and accurate Enochian magic rituals, and reveals how the angelic realm is the first and farthest away from the spiritual realm surrounding God. He explains how to penetrate the angelic realm of power magic to reach higher spiritual worlds and receive more. Ah, come on, man. Nah, I gotta go hang out with my brother, bro. Don't make it weird. You made it gay. You looked at me. You didn't have to make it gay. You looked at me. Fucking Deji. Oh my god. Yeah. He shows that by connecting with the higher worlds beyond the angels, we can tap more fully into the magical power of the divine angels by restoring the planetary magic of our most ancient ancestors. John DeSalvo holds a PhD in biophysics and for more than 30 years scientifically studied the Shroud of Turin, a former college professor and current director of the Great Pyramid of Giza Research Association. He's author of many books, including The Lost Art of Enochian Magic. He lives in Maple Lake, Minnesota. You need to stay up off the streets, but if you can't take the heat, you need to stay up off the streets if you can't take the heat. Cause it be cold like Minnesota. Cold like Minnesota. Cold like Minnesota. Cold like Minnesota. That was a dab in 2025. Think about that, guys. Think about that. I just did a dab in 2025. Like, I just did a dab in 2025. That is crazy. Yeah, okay. Anyways. Preface. I've been studying and researching the paranormal for over 40 years, ever since I was a junior in high school. I am also a scientist and such. I try to look in the world in an objective, scientific, and analytical manner. Too many people today accept everything they hear unconditionally and without questioning it if it sounds cool or unusual and it's what they want to believe. I am sharing my thoughts with you in this way at the beginning of this book because after all these years of research and after writing 7 books on mysteries, magic, and the paranormal, my conclusions have continued to change and evolve. As regards this, I would like to not share with you my favorite quote from Andrew Jackson Davis, the 19th century clairvoyant, whom I wrote a book about. I do not promise to believe tomorrow exactly what I believe today, and I do not believe today exactly what I believed yesterday. I expect to make, as I have made, some honest progress within every succeeding 24 hours. What's up, Kai? Welcome to the stream. W bells in the chat for Kai. Bell. Oh my God. Bells in the chat for Kai. You dig? After all of my ongoing research into the paranormal, I do acknowledge the validity of the occult and these magical realms. In this book, I will share my techniques of accessing these magical worlds with you, and I will report my research finding and honestly as clearly as I can, which is what a true scientist does. If I have made errors in judgments or in conclusions, I apologize. The peer review process has been criticized by many, but if done objectively with an open mind, which is not usually the case in today's academic scientific circles, it's a valuable tool and way to validate and confirm one's hypothesis. I leave it to my readers to perform peer evaluations of my statements, research, and conclusions. This book is intended for the average person who may know nothing about magic and wants to give it a try. It's complete in and of itself to those readers wanting to experiment with magic, no prior experiences if necessary. If I were, after reading it, desire information about the magic of John Dee and Edward Kelly, which I focus on in this book, I would suggest that you read my previous book on the subject. I've tried making Enochian magic in the higher world as user-friendly as possible, and in these pages present a new magical discovery and technique that I believe to be the most effective and easiest one that I have developed thus far to date. Let's see, table of contents. Table of contents. So introduction is 10 pages. I like the number 10, so we're gonna end off the stream with that, hopefully. 10 pages. Last 10 pages of the stream, chat. Last 10 pages. And then we're gonna be out of here. 2 hours and a half. Actually, no, 3 hours and a half, guys. This is no 2 hours and a half. Yeah, 2 hours and a half, 2.5 hours. The stream was, and yeah, we'll see how long we can extend it for. Why not? Let's go. I sound so unenthusiastic. Let's go. Okay, that sounded way better. Introduction. Angels, angels, angels. Everyone today is talking about angels. There are numerous books on how to contact an angel, how to find your guardian angel, how to perform angelic magic, and even books on angel love. Go into any metaphysical bookstore and you'll probably find dozens of new books on angels, or turn on the History Channel, you'll find many special documentaries about them. These programs ask such questions as: did angels contact us in our distant past? Are angels guiding us and giving us hidden knowledge? Are angels extraterrestrials from other dimensional realms or even time travelers? Are they controlling us or manipulating us with some hidden agenda? Many years of my life have been devoted to studying and researching magic and angelic communications. This includes material from scholarly and academic sources. I'm also a practicing magician and have used magical techniques of the past and developed new ones as well to contact angels and enter higher realms successfully. Whereas many magicians and angel researchers of today are either theoretical or practical in their approach, I am both. I also am a trained scientist, a biophysicist, and such I use the scientific method and the analytic approach in my research. My last two books on magic deal with the angelic communication between the famous 16th century mathematician and occultist Dr. John Dee and his squire Edward Kelly. This is the world of Enochian magic. Before we begin our journey into this esoteric world, however, I would like to digress for a moment to tell you my interest in magic began. This one looks too crude, I'm not gonna lie. I like this one a lot more. As a biophysicist, I am frequently asked how I got from biophysics to magic. Here's the answer. Since childhood, I was drawn into the occult. Being especially fascinated with the existence of ghosts, I grew up in a 19th century house in the state of New York, and in this house I frequently felt the presence of ghosts. On a few occasions I believe I actually saw one which scared the heck out of me. Whether they're real or imaginary, the experience left a lasting impression on me. Even though I didn't get the sense that these things were malicious or evil, I would feel their presence most strongly in the basement. It would have made a great haunted house. I am from a large Italian family, and often relatives and friends would stay for prolonged periods of time. I never actually compared notes with any of them about ghosts at our homes until approximately 10 years ago. It was then I discovered these visitors had some of the same ghostly experience that I had. I don't know if my ghostly sightings cultivated my curiosity or not, but soon thereafter I noticed an increasingly drawn to cemeteries. There was one between my house and my school, and on nice days I would walk through it on my way home. In the cemetery, I feel the presence of those who have passed on, and as a result, I felt careful not to step on any graves. Typically, I would be in the cemetery as the sun was setting. I would frequently stop and pray over a grave that I felt needed some prayers. When my family and I visited some cousins in Charleston, South Carolina, we would often spend time walking through old cemeteries and historic mausoleums in the older part of that city. I also love antique stories, which are a bit unusual for a boy my age. If a used bookstore, I found books about ghosts, the unknowns, aliens, or UFOs, and I had the money to buy it, the book would go home with me. When I was a teenager, I was drawn to UFOs, and together with my best friend at the time, we cataloged every UFO sighting that made headlines. This is what many UFO reporting organizations do today, but this was the early 1960s. I think it's safe to say that my friend and I were a little ahead of our time. This was a well-known UFO sighting in Michigan in 1966, which many people attribute to the effect of swamp gas. My friends and I weren't satisfied with this explanation and considered taking a bus to Michigan to investigate ourselves. This is how serious we were about this. I remember that we were subscribed to Fate magazine, which the famous Ray Palmer edited. I wrote to which the famous Ray Palmer edited. I wrote to Mr. Palmer and received personal replies, which I still had, and one letter I asked him about what the fourth dimension was. Also, I was curious about the dimension of death. I had questions about aliens as well. I don't remember his responses, but I was impressed that he could take the time to answer a high school student about these things. Maybe he was impressed that someone my age was writing him. During my senior year of high school, I took senior English as a required course. The teacher was interested in Eastern philosophy, Zen, and existentialism, and spent a good deal of the following discussing these. Boy, was I turned on to this. Not only did I read the required books, I supplemented them with many other topics of Eastern philosophy. I always stayed after school to study with teachers about the other resources and references on the same subject and asked to a myriad of questions that I had. This course had my interaction with the teachers began to expand my awareness of a notion of cosmic consciousness, which I had an experience of when I was about 7 years old. I had been outside on the grounds of the old house I grew up with, and looking up at the sky, I felt that I was one of everything. I can still recall that feeling today, even though it didn't last long. I remember my father shortly afterwards saying something like, "Dad, have you ever felt that you were God?" Perhaps the way I phrased this, the question might lead some people to believe I have a big ego and thought I was God. But anyone with a similar experience may understand what I mean. The feeling I had one was merging into infinity, into the presence of which that encompasses everything, so like theosis basically. Words can't adequately describe this state, but we still attempt to articulate it. Often poetry comes the closest, but it still falls short. I wonder how many children have experienced the sensation. It would appear that our culture doesn't know how to acknowledge these spiritual experiences and further cultivate them so that the children's spiritual consciousness can develop in that very natural way. Too frequently, these experiences are chalked up to being merely the byproducts of overactive imagination. This is unfortunate, for I believe that a normal drive of every human being is to find his true self, that spark of God within. Once this has been experienced, you never forget it, and all through life, on some level, you may find yourself seeking to your true home again. Throughout my undergraduate years, a very demanding science and engineering college, I passively pursued those spiritual interests, but one day I decided to take a psychological psychology course as an elective after hearing from fellow students that this class covered a lot of weird things. One of my greatest lectures was from Jack Forum, who had authored one of the first major books in transcendental meditation, and together with the Maharishi Mahesh Yogi, had helped bring transcendental meditation to the United States. Forum was a very humble and kind person, and during his lecture he summarized the scientific research on transcendental meditation that had just been completed at Harvard Medical School, which appeared in Scientific American magazine. The data was impressive, but it wouldn't be until many years later that I was in graduate school that I would actually experience transcendental meditation for myself. At that time, I signed up for and took an official transcendental meditation course, and at graduate school, in addition to experiencing transcendental meditation, I applied myself to the study of astrology, Eastern religion, astral projection, which I believe I was able to do, and all kinds of various metaphysical disciplines. I was even the follower of teacher Meher Baba, the Indian spiritual master. One of my fellow graduate students was John Hopkins, a Persian and follower of Meher Baba. This friend also introduced me to Sufism. Nice. Awesome. When I started teaching college biology, I met people who were interested in the occult. We formed a group and explored our collective interests via discussions, lectures through the practice of rituals, and by experimenting with different types of psychic phenomena. The person who ran our group was a well-known psychic medium, and she and I became very close friends. This time, I've purchased innumerable books on how to develop your psychic ability, astral projection, and scrying, almost a variety of very related topics. Okay, but in my previous books, I discussed the fact that despite my keen interest in the practice of different esoteric techniques, nothing really seemed to work until I tried Enochian magic, the form of magic that the angels gave to Dr. John Dee and his squire Edward Kelly in the 16th century England. I spent many years studying the handwritten diaries of Dr. John Dee before I wrote my books on Enochian magic, and eventually developed a new technique of Enochian meditation, which is a simpler and pure form of Enochian magic. This technique of Enochian magic, the most magical groups teach and practice, is, in my opinion, their own invention and not from the angels. They have taken basic information that Dee and Kelly received from the angels and added much fluff and superficial materials that the angels never intended it to have. Some have even distorted the original material. I went back to the basic angelic information or incorporated a way to use it in a simple meditation. But here's the catch. The Enochian magic information that the angels gave to Dee and Kelly is either incomplete, or if complete, the angels never told them how to use it. So you may ask, does Enochian magic work at all? To this I will reply that it works to a limited degree, and this is so because we are only able to tap some, if not all, the original energy that the angels convey. In making sense of this, it's helpful to write the analogy of a large waterfall like Niagara Falls, which is so enormous and so strong that it has spray coming off at its sides. In trying to tap the energy of the falls, while one may not be able to tap the primary energy of a waterfall itself, one can tap a secondary spray coming off of its sides. This peripheral energy is what most magical groups have extracted from the angelic material that Dee and Kelly received, and while it may have to some power, it doesn't begin to match the true potential of the source. To date, no one has discovered how to tap the main waterfall of Enochian magic. Having said that, I've been able to maximize the strength of its peripheral energy in a natural and highly effective manner. My research yielded other interesting material, and after having communicated with Dean Kelly for some time, the angels rather abruptly broke off all communication with the two men, and no one knows precisely why. This question has been asked for the last 500 years and never been answered satisfactorily. I have a possible answer, which I'll discuss later in the book. It's based on a little-known wife-swapping incident that the angels asked Dean and Kelly to perform. This has been one of the most interesting and enigmatic controversies of the Dean and Kelly partnership, and never thoroughly understood or explained. Some scholars believe that the two men never carried out this wife-swapping, but I can demonstrate that they did. I also believe that it's a purpose and what angels had in mind and they suggested it. It's a radical view that no one has proposed until now. And the research I did, there was another matter of interest. Having read the approximately 800 pages of Dee's diary, where the angelic communication are discussed, but some seem contradictory and quite unlike anything that any angel might have ever said. So how do you explain this contradiction? Were malevolent angels interfering with the communications? If so, who were they? And does one determine the section of angelic messages were from good or holy angels, and what parts, if any, were attempts made by evil angels trying to insert false information to the narrative and thus invalidate all of it? Another discovery I made sheds some light on this question. Not all angels are of the same spiritual caliber, and that's why they're not as egoistically infallible. My findings reveal that there are good angels and bad angels, intelligence and one less so. The respective nature can be comprehended to how life moves through a prism. Angels manifest from God, like light, and pass through a prism in order to enter the spiritual realm. Emerging from the prism are different colors, different intensities, and different purities of light. The temperament, sensibility, and nature of any given angel is a function of how the life entering the prism breaks into constituted order and shades. Some are brighter than others, some darker, and some are purer. The standard classification that scholars use, which is arbitrary, is a system of classification that takes high angels, or what some call archangels, and low angels. In fact, the Book of Enoch lists a choir or hierarchy of angels. This is what the Catholic Church bases its angelology on. It's also important to note that many angels don't have emotions and feelings like humans. Given this, they're apt to carry out their directives on what they think are their directives, without contemplating the emotional consequence of their actions on humans. Most authors of angelic materials miss this important point. To them, all angels are loving, helpful, and capable of feeling human emotion. This isn't true. Even the goodly or holy angels will carry out directives that may ignore the consequences to individual human lives. This might sound cold, but it's a principle of how some of them operate. They believe they're the follower orders of direct orders of God, which to them is more important than the consequences of their actions on human life. This is all stuff I've understood already before, so it's good to get this confirmed in this book, I think. This brings up the most important aspect of this book. If angels are not infallible, and if we get mixed information from them, is the information they give us valid or even helpful to us as humans? The answer is both yes and no. If one can sift through the information they provide and discern what is valid and potentially of spiritual applicability, then yes, we may use that information. The problem is that most people, even psychics, don't have the requisite level of discernment to be able to tell what information is valid and what is not. Perhaps the question we should be asking is there a higher realm, more reliable, more accurate, more of God, above the angelic realm, which we should be trying to contact instead? What lies between God and the prism that we can tap into? How can we go beyond the spiritual world and contact higher realms, those of the angelic realm and those that surround our world? The angelic realm is the first layer of boundary that we encounter on our path to God. There are other realms above this one, and that is why I subtitled the book Beyond the Realm of the Angels. I have been experimenting to try to go beyond this initial angelic realm. Whether I have succeeded or not, I have left it up to the reader to decide. It's my belief that it is possible to describe how to attempt this endeavor, which is based on new information I've discovered in the diaries of John Dee. Continuing our analogy of the prism, our journey to this area would be a journey to a place that's somewhere between God and the prism. But we need to heed a warning here. Famous magicians like Aleister Crowley have warned of the need to exercise caution that when endeavoring to unravel these mysteries. Lamilo Duquette, who wrote the introduction to my book, The Lost Art of Enochian Magic, has quoted Crowley many times, saying Enochian magic is so powerful that it works even for people with no magical ability. If tapping in the peripheral spray from the waterfall is very powerful and effective, how much more powerful and effective would tapping into waterfall directly be? I always say that Enochian magic is not for everyone. You have a sound mind and stable personality to attempt it, for you are dealing with powers and forces that are unknown. We are in uncharted territories, and none of us have the complete answers, including me. Freely I receive and freely I give, but the final decision as to whether or not to explore further I leave to the individual reader. If you do decide to pursue the study and practice of magic, you will find that this book presents new ideas and new techniques to help you do so. I've written it because of my own personal quest. I'm looking to bring a more powerful and usable method of Enochian magic to the public, which I believe will be a greater help to those traveling along the spiritual path. And there you have it, guys. That is the end of the stream. 10 minutes away from 3 hours. We streamed for a very long time today, guys. I want to get deep into this book, actually. I want to get really deep into it and talk about different aspects in it and different parts of it and all these different parts and groupings and thank you guys so much for watching the stream. My name is Ken. I am the host of the Ikwanas Dahab, or the Brethren of Gold. And today we read through Liber 150, and we read through the introductory segment of Enochian Magic and the Higher Worlds by John DeSalvo, PhD. Oh, John, what's good? Yeah, peace. Thank you so much for watching, John. Thank you Kai for joining the stream. Thank you Tyrone, who's gone now. Thank you. Thank you everybody for pulling up today. Oh yeah, I will definitely enjoy the clips, John. I will definitely enjoy the clips. 100%. Peace. Thank you guys so much for watching. I love you guys so much. Love you guys. Love you guys. Peace out.